Hello, everybody. It's Tim Michael. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. My wife and I have been watching a whole ton of Christmas movies leading up to the Christmas season, which is actually in just a few days. And I have been watching one movie, which is my favorite, called Rise of the Guardians. And as you guys know, I have done one other Rise of the Guardians where I drew Bunny, and that was a lot of fun. I think that was a year or two ago. And we were watching, and once again, North has become quite an inspiration. Just kind of that big mean guy kind of attitude, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to give him another shot. I really enjoyed how this was. It took me about 56 minutes to draw, that's rather exact, isn't it? And I'm just, doing my usual thing, sketching things out, trying to get a feel. I really wanted to capture a few things, and I wanted to try a different haircut on our Santa Claus, or North, as I should say, if we're basing it off of his character. Still trying to get the Russian appeal, Russian look, but I just keep imagining this haircut where he's you can see a scalp on the side and his long hair just going over the top, pulled back into a ponytail. And I thought that would make a very hard-looking Santa, and I wanted to give that a shot. So I've already done my outline, as you guys saw. Did that in blue and on a separate layer. I made a new layer on top of that. I am working in Manga Studio EX5, which is my new favorite drawing program for right now. And I am using the G pen, which is my inking pen. And as you can see, really trying to focus, as always, on getting all of those pen pressures. That really does truly change your art. So if you have not been focusing on that, it is time to put some thought into that. Consider where the sun is. Consider where you can do thin lines for where the sun is hitting, and thick lines where the sun isn't. And then also, as you're drawing along, if you want to get more definition in certain places than others, then put some depth of color on the bottoms of those. I'm working on the beard now. Lots of different lines there where I really wanted to capture that depth. So you'll see in a little bit, I'll go back and I'll try and put in some darker lines in certain areas. Thought about putting an earring on him or something like that, and I decided to try and do something like that in the end, kind of more of a gauge. Admittedly, I've never seen Santa really working with a gauge, but I figured I'd give it a shot and just see what I thought about it in the end. It didn't turn out too bad. Almost done, but now you can see here's where I'm really starting to consider where the sun is hitting, where the light sources would be, and just trying to darken up some areas. And you'll also see I'll start putting in some small stippling marks that kind of begin to give it a little bit more of a comic feel, like it's supposed to be out of a comic book. And I admit this is one of my better attempts at that. I do also blame Manga Studio for that because it has a really great inking ability, and one that I would suggest everyone try. In the past, and with a lot of the comments that I've been answering back, a lot of people, I've told them, yeah, this was Paint Tool Sai, and it isn't my favorite now because Manga Studio just really has taken charge and really given me all I've wanted in an art program. So if you guys are curious, Manga Studio EX5 is the one to check out. And it's much cheaper than other programs, and it's worth the pennies, I promise. Especially if you're a comic or caricaturist, comic artist or caricaturist. And as you guys know, I have been talking an awful lot about all of this stuff, answering your questions on YouTube, and all of that on my new podcast, which is the Artisan Central Podcast. I would love for you guys to go and check that out. Just look up Artisan Central Podcast on iTunes and on Stitcher. Those are really great websites, and of course the iTunes App Store. And you'll really like getting into podcasting. If you give it a shot and you look at some different podcasts, there's some really amazing ones out there, and I would definitely suggest it. Thank you for everyone who does listen, and for whoever leaves comments. Please leave your comments down below if you have any questions, and I answer as many of your questions as I can on the weekend podcast called the Artisan Central Podcast. And then during the week, I usually record a show called Behind the Easel, which is where I just talk about my life in general, and I answer questions here and there, but mainly it's just talking about what I'm going through. It's kind of my public diary, if you will. But it's been a lot of fun, and we just finished off, my wife and I just made our own little audio Christmas letter is what I like to call it, and it's one that we've made for our friends, but you are more than welcome to listen to it, and that's also on the Artisan Central Podcast. All right, so you can see I'm starting to put in the color. I'm still using the G pen to apply the color. That way I still get the same control as I paint and still get that same feeling that I need. And then once I color it in, I go and I put other colors on other layers. I separate all of those out on individual layers so I can lock out their, I'm trying to remember the proper term, I think it's lock out their alphas, so that way I can just paint over them without having to make a mask. It's kind of one version of making a mask or another. Now, as you can see, I'm giving him gray hair, and as we all know, Santa is not known for his gray hair, known more for white. So the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to consider that the shadow, and when I'm done, I will shade in the center areas more to the white, and we'll give him the Santa approach. Now, I do like North, and because I like North so much, I decided instead of doing the white fur around his neck, North is based off more of a Russian character, and if we do more of a Russian character, then I think we need to do a little more black type fur around him, kind of like big bear fur. So I'll put some big bear fur around him, kind of like that, and you'll see that I'll shade that darker just in general. I won't even do any feather shading to it, just fill it out as boldly as I can and make it pop. Still kind of keep it with that cartoon effect. And as you can see, I put the red layer below it, so it makes it really easy to clean up certain areas. Now that that is done, as you can see, I've put the alpha layer lock on each one of those, and on the layers on the right-hand side. Now it's time to start making things look a little bit more Santa-ish. And there we go. I'm using an airbrush there set to a low opacity so I can just do multiple passes in the areas that I want. And then I switched over to my paintbrush, which is the watercolor brush, default settings, of course, because I'm too lazy to create other kinds. And just shading in the dark and lights. I really like the airbrush because it keeps it with that nice brush feeling, and when it comes to hair, that's a really nice addition, and it keeps it really simple. So it makes it easy to blend things together. You can see if I reach from a dark color and I pull it up, it'll pull that color up, or if I pull from the white and pull it down. It's basically a blending brush and a color brush mixed together. It's a really cool little thing, and it still leaves all those streaks in there that kind of give it that nice brushed look. And that is a tool that I use in every single caricature that I draw for my clients. I would have been showing you a whole bunch more client work that I've been working on, but everything I've done so far this year has been, well, this season has been for Christmas gifts. So I'm sorry that I haven't been able to show you any of my work recently, but there's good reason why, and there's been an awful lot of work that's come in. Gone in with a darker color. I added just a little bit more red to the tone in the shadow, just a hair, and then as you can see, I drew in all the hard, and then I'm just gently using the blender brush to kind of shade it out. But I want to keep a lot of hard edges in there still, so you'll still see that that all stays in there. Certain areas will stay very hard. Now, of course, a new technique that I've been doing has been applying red and then just dropping the opacity on the red, so I get more blood look like it's coming to the skin and kind of make people look a little bit more alive, and that's been a really good technique that I've used. Colored in the eyes on a separate layer, locked out their alpha channel, and now I'm just quickly throwing in the white that you just saw me airbrush in, and then just topping it off with some blue, just to kind of give North some pop in his eyes, just a little bit over that black. Checking out my layers. I'm not really liking the hair on the side. I messed with that a few times and just left it alone. And then cleaning up my edges and things. And we're coming to the finish of this. If you've enjoyed this, then please make sure to hit the like button below. And then, of course, if you want to support me and you want to see more YouTube videos, I need your help. Please go to patreon.com/TimMichaelArts. Or if you like the podcast, you can go to patreon.com/ArtisanCentralPodcast and consider supporting me financially. A cent here, a couple cents here, or $1 every time I make a new video or new podcast. Greatly appreciate it. And there you go. Have you been naughty or nice? Because Santa Claus is coming to town. Thank you very much, everybody. Hope that you've enjoyed that. And like I said, please make sure to take a look at the new podcast, the Artisan Central podcast, that goes up every Saturday or Sunday when I can get it edited. But it has been a weekly thing for the past 2.5 months. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks for your support, guys. I love you guys. We'll see you next year in 2015. God bless you, and have a very Merry Christmas, and, of course, a Happy Holidays. See y'all later.